The DJI Pocket 3 is an incredibly powerful little camera, but there are 10 features that you might not know about that will massively improve the videos you film with this little pocket camera. So one of the features that not everybody knows about with the Pocket 3 is that it always has, or you have the option to always record the internal mics of the Pocket 3. So right now what you're hearing is me on a DJI Mic 2 with a lapel on. I'm a couple hundred feet away, which is also really nice. But because the camera offers this backup recording, there's two different ways you can use it. One is as a backup recording in case, you know, the DJI mic dies or something like that. So this would be an example of what would happen if the DJI mic would fail. Right now you hear the DJI Mic 2 and the lapel, but then all of a sudden, let's say it just cut out. Then this is what you would hear recorded directly from the Pocket 3, held, you know, 2 feet away from me or so. And while there's a little more noise and it's a little more, it definitely sounds different, at least you could rescue that and still have usable audio. But the other way is to just get natural sound and then be able to mix that in. So right now you're hearing me and the lapel, but if we listen to what the Pocket 3 is recording on the on-camera microphones, this is what you hear. Now the great thing about that is that you can mix that in and have some natural ambient sound because it actually is recording in stereo, which gives you a kind of a nice left and right sound field. But it also enables you to just have a nice natural sound. But there's another feature that you get with the DJI Mic or the Mic Mini, Mic 2 or Mic Mini, and to show you that, I want to go just up here. Another fantastic feature that not everybody knows about with the Pocket 3 is that if you have a DJI Mic Mini or a DJI Mic 2, you can remotely start and stop recording using the link button. You just tap it, it starts recording, tap it, it stops recording, which is a great way to remote control the Pocket 3 if you don't want to open the Mimo app or something like that. So case in point, I'm standing down here and I just started recording on the Pocket 3 using the DJI mic. It's super easy. You just tap the link button and it not only works on the Mic 2, but it also works on the Mic Mini. So if you're doing things like this where you're, you know, wanting to walk up to the camera or you're like moving through a scene, but you don't necessarily want to open your phone and have the Mimo app going, then using the Mic 2 or the Mic Mini not only gives you much better audio, but it enables you to remotely control the Pocket 3 when you want to start and stop recording. Saves you a lot of extra SD card space. Oh, well, I didn't expect that big wall of snow to be there from avalanches, so I guess we're going up and over. Now my next trip's about active track. Pretty much everybody knows the Pocket 3 can active track, but what you might not know is there's a way to active track that. Active track, while being extremely useful to capture things like if you fall down, and bonus points if you capture it in 4K 60 so you can slow it down just a little bit and watch every glorious moment. But most active track is exactly what you're seeing right now, which is kind of this center framed, sort of lots of headroom, stuff like that. But there is a mode in the Pocket 3 that will allow you to active track to different areas of the screen. So what you're gonna do is tap right here on this little icon and then go down to this one in here, and it's called dynamic framing. If you hit start, then whatever is in these little yellow squares, which you can move around with the joystick, is going to be active track. So then you tap with the joystick, starts tracking whatever's in there. And this is especially useful if you want to track somebody through a scene and you want to lead them. You don't want them to be center frames. So let me show you exactly what I mean. So this is an example of how to use this well. It's giving me more space in front and not so much space behind, which means generally gives you the idea that I'm moving forward into this area here where you can see more stuff in front of me. But the key to this is, if I turn around and start walking back, it feels strange because all of a sudden I'm pushing against the edge of the frame. You can't see what's in front of me. You can see a lot of what's behind me. So while that could be a choice for a certain type of narrative work, it doesn't really work best for advancing the story forward. This is what we want to advance the story forward. I think we just have another mile to go, and then yeah, some pretty cool stuff to show you. And dynamic framing can be really useful depending on what you're filming. Like I've used it in the car before where I wanted the Pocket to just stay fixed sort of on me and not wander around as I was driving around the street, which I have some more car tips coming up for you because there's a seriously underrated feature on the Pocket 3 that I only just found, and it makes working or using the Pocket 3 in a car motor vehicle a way better process. Now, I don't think you should use active track for every shot. I think it's good to have interspersed in different shots between. So like this one's locked off, other shots have been active tracked, and that gives some more interest and variety to your shots. But say I didn't want to finish the recording of when I fell down the hill, and I wanted to just make sure that shot never made it out into the open because I don't want people to know that occasionally I, slip on snow and ice and fall down. Then there's a really easy way to do that, is if you hold the record button down, it will cancel the recording just like that. So that way that clip never would have existed, except for now it's on the internet for forever and you all saw it anyway. All right, almost there. And there is one more tip with audio that I forgot to include earlier, and that's that if you're using a DJI Mic 2 system and you want it to always do a backup recording, but you don't want it to you don't want to start recording when you are ready to record and then turn it off at the end of the day, so you have like a 7-hour clip of audio. But what you can do is enable audio to video sync, and what that does is tell the DJI Mic 2 to also record internally. This can be especially useful if, for example, you're going to be really far away from the Pocket 3 and you might lose signal, or you want to take advantage of the 32-bit internal recording of the DJI Mic 2, then you will never overdrive your audio. So if you're in a really loud environment or something like that, or you're going to be in a very dynamic environment, then you can always rescue that audio later because it's recording internally. Hey, if you're enjoying or getting value out of this video, then consider subscribing. I go out and test and compare and review equipment in the harshest, most real-world conditions I can find here in Alaska where I live, and I give you tips and tutorials on how to use it. One of the features of the Pocket 3 that I was using wrong, or thought I was using right, but I definitely wasn't, is single focus mode. And what this enables you to do is be able to focus the Pocket 3 on an object, and then, or in the background or whatever, and then move around objects that are much closer that would normally throw the focus off, but this keeps the focus from changing. So single focus mode is really powerful if you're wanting to get some of those cinematic move shots where you've got something in the foreground moving by, but you don't want the focus to change. These shots that you're seeing here, most of them, except for the ones obviously that weren't, but most of them I shot in single focus mode, and it gives you that beautiful locked focus on a subject or something in the background while you have foreground movement, stuff that's out of focus right in the foreground that you don't want to see the focus change. Something that a lot of people don't know about is when you're filming in normal color mode, it handles exposure differently than if you're filming in D-Log M. So right now I'm filming D-Log M. This is filming in normal color profile. Now, if you see back over here, it's super bright, but as soon as I bring my face into the view, it kind of brightens up, it blows out the background, and that's because in normal color profile mode, DJI programmed the Pocket 3 to prioritize faces for exposure. So if you're wondering why sometimes the background gets way blown out when your face or a face is in your footage, it's because in normal color profile, it's going to see a face and go, hey, I need to expose for the face. And while you can and should probably lock exposure, honestly, I don't a lot of the times. I just let it run in auto, maybe with some limits on there. because the Pocket 3 does do a really good job, but it is one of the reasons that I always shoot in D-Log-M, is you get the most amount of dynamic range. It's fairly easy to color grade if you use any sort of professional program. I use Final Cut Pro, and then it's easy to drop a LUT on there and have it be exposed the way you want it to. The Pocket 3 has decent dynamic range for its size, but with D-Log-M, you can also kind of push and pull things around to get them to be where you want them to be and look the way you want them to look. Another feature that you might not be aware of, because it just got added in a firmware update, is the Medium Tele mode. So the camera you're looking at right now is in Medium Tele, and then this is the regular full field of view. Now there's a couple of caveats to that. One is that the Medium Tele mode only works in normal color profile, so you can't do D-Log-M with it, and you can't do active track with it. But it is kind of cool if you want to punch in, because it gives you pretty decent image quality still, but gives you more of a 40mm field of view. So doesn't look too bad, right? I kind of like it. And I do have a whole video linked up here in the corner. If you want to see the Medium Tele mode broken down, comparing it to the 2x zoom, there are some things you can do with the Medium Tele mode you can't do with the 2x zoom, so be sure and watch that video or check down in the description after you finish watching this one. One of the first tips that I was not understanding and did not use correctly is the gimbal mode. And especially if you're going to be in a moving vehicle like I am right now, and you don't want the gimbal to be tilting left or right as you go around corners, then what you want to do is put it in FPV-T mode. And what that does is lock the gimbal with the way that the gimbal is facing, or with the way that the Pocket 3 is facing, so that it won't tilt side to side based on the way it feels the gyro, the IMU data is telling the gimbal on how to compensate. And what that does is give you what you're seeing now, which is a perfectly level shot of me in a car driving around. But it also works like if you're going to face the gimbal out the front of your car and just get a shot of you driving down the road, but you don't want the horizon to tilt every time you go around a corner. This works amazing and gives you perfectly level footage that way. Haven't had the chance to try it in an airplane or helicopter yet, but I'm pretty sure it would work that way there too. If you're using these two cameras or this camera with any professional camera, it actually does have timecode built in. Now this is a pretty unique use case, but if you're wanting to make sure you can synchronize the Pocket 3 with other cameras you might be using, you actually can synchronize with timecode. Now, timecode isn't something I use all the time, but it's a great feature to have if you want to synchronize multiple cameras like I have done on multiple times today. Next, you're going to want to watch this video right here. I'll see you over there. As always, if you have questions, ask me in the comments below, or you can join my live stream, which happens most Wednesday nights at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern, at least if I'm not out, you know, freezing in a glacier ice cave where there's no cell service. I'll see you again soon in the next one. Cheers.